Hi, Michael.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I'm
Nice to
Kim.
meet you.
All right, I'm glad you can make it here for training today. I just want to put you at ease. This doesn't have to be a perfect training session. We're here to work on some goals, and by the end of it, hopefully you can administer PECS properly. So first of all, I just want to ask you, have you ever heard of PECS before?
No, I have not.
Okay. So have you ever seen it implemented? Do you know anything about it?
No, I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. So that's what we're here for, so not to worry. So the reason why we are here is because Sam will be coming to your school, and he uses PECS to communicate. So it's really important that we train the school staff who will be interacting with him to understand the process of communicating with PECS so that he can function in his surroundings. So hopefully by the end of training, we achieve at least 80% of performance accuracy. I'll be using a performance checklist to just test you. So hopefully we reach 80%, and then that's how we know that you can properly communicate with PECS. So just to introduce PECS to you, it stands for Picture Exchange Communication System, and it's an alternate form of communicating which can be used by individuals who don't have functional communication skills. They have speech and articulation problems, or they have severe echolalia. So that just means that whenever they hear something, they repeat those exact words back to them. They are taught to select a picture of a desired item, to approach a communicative partner, which would be you or any adult that they want to talk to, and they receive an item in exchange for that picture. So in this way, individuals are taught to initiate communication, and the act of communicating is rewarding to them. It also teaches them the functionality of communication. So it teaches them that if they want something, they have to communicate and then they get it. So I will show you the performance checklist. So this is what I will be using to grade you on how you perform the PECS. It's just an outline of all the critical steps that are to be taken, and it's explained in observable terms. So I will be using it, and as well as you will be using it for yourself when I'm not present. It's just an outline of everything that you have to do, all the key elements, and it also tracks your progress over time, because you can use this pretty much anytime throughout training and intervention, so that you can track exactly how well you're doing over the course of the intervention. It's also important for procedural integrity, which is the measure of how often and accurately the teaching procedure is being implemented. So we want to make sure that these techniques are being implemented the same way every single time, so that we get reliable and accurate data, and so in effect that will help the intervention to go in the right direction. So I will show you the actual procedure of PECS. So Sam is currently in phase 4 of PECS. So the basic steps or the basic skills that a phase 4 learner presents is they locate a communication binder, they locate and remove the I want picture and they place it on the sentence strip, they remove the preferred picture from an array and they place it on the sentence strip, they remove the entire strip and they locate the communicative partner, they locate your palm specifically, and they release the strip into your palm. So I just wrote a note here that Sam currently is proficient in doing those basic skills. So he's able to form the sentence and actually give it to the communicative partner. So right now we are focusing on getting him to actually read the sentence strip. So going through the steps here, pretty much what I said already is the first thing is every day make sure he has his communication binder with all the pages, the pictures, the sentence starter pictures, and the Velcro all intact so that he can actually use it. Secondly, make sure that the I want icon is located in the upper left-hand corner of the binder. So that's one key element, is to make sure that that is in the proper position. Thirdly, when Sam approaches your palm with the sentence strip, you take it and you turn the strip back around to him. You read out each word, so you're modeling the sentence for him before you actually give the item. So that's another key element right there, is to read it before you give the item. So number 4 is what we're going to be focusing on, is teaching him how to actually read. So there's 3 steps to teaching him how to read. The first step is you prompt him to touch each word of the strip while you read it out loud. The second step is that Sam independently points to each word while you continue to read out loud. And thirdly, this is actually where we want to encourage speech to occur. So there is a pause between reading I want and then the item. So if there is any speech that occurs after that pause, then you highly reward that behavior. So meaning if he wants juice or candy or chips, you can give a lot of those chips, a lot of that juice, maybe for a longer period of time, and you really praise him for that. So that is another key element. And so in terms of the prompts that I mentioned, there are 4 types of prompts that you can use for this phase. Since we will be introducing this to Sam for the first time, you will most likely be using the full physical prompt, meaning that it's a hand-over-hand guidance to walk Sam through the entire physical response. So you're literally taking his hand, forming it into a finger, and pointing it to the words. Partial physical is a little bit less than the full physical, so you're using different degrees of touch to get him to read the words. So you can either guide him from his wrist or from his elbow, and that would be partial physical. There is gestural, so meaning that you can just simply tap to the sentence, and hopefully that will cue him to do the pointing himself. And then lastly is independent, so that's eventually our goal, is to get him to independently touch the words while you read it. You don't have to do anything pretty much. Now, a key element with prompting is that we want to do it from most to least, and we want to fade it out as quickly as possible. So we don't want him to be dependent on us always grabbing his hand. We want to teach him that he has to do it himself eventually. So the earliest that you can fade out those prompts, the earliest that you can kind of go to partial and go to gestural, that's the best, because we don't want him to be dependent on us grabbing his hand all the time. So that's what we mean by most to least. Now, the 6th step is after the exchange of the sentence strip with the item, so after you give him whatever it is that he wants, you praise him, and you praise him while labeling what you just praised him for. For example, it would be nice asking for juice. So we praised him by saying nice asking, but we labeled it by saying asking for juice. So that's another key element. Then you just want to fill out the data sheet after every time this has happened. And lastly, you want to make sure that all the items are placed properly back on the binder. So, after hearing all of this, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering, how many times would you recommend going through this whole process?
So, I would say it depends on how long the child is at the school for. But in terms of a good ballpark number, I would say maybe minimum of 30 trials a day. Between 30 to 50 would be a really good amount of data to have per day for this going on. Also, a question for you, would you be able to recite to me some key elements that I had pointed out?
I guess one of the main parts was depending on what kind of type of reading you want, whether the full physical or the partial physical. So I think that was a very important part of the directions, depending on what kind of a learner they are. So yeah, I think that's an important part.
Okay, great. So I'll be going over more of those key elements as we do the demonstration. So I'll just model it really quickly for you. So, for example, so here's actually his communication binder. So what's going to happen is you want to make sure, first of all, that the I want is right there. So Sam, he is going to be putting this on. So he will be giving it to the partner. I take it and I turn it around, and then I take his hand, form it into a point, and I say, I want juice. I give him the juice. I say, good job asking for juice. And then I go to my data sheet and I write down what just happened. And then I put this all where it has to go. Okay? So, this would be a good time to practice on Sam. Alright, so this is your
Okay.
data collection sheet. So, to the best of your ability, let's try
Okay.
going through what we had just talked about.
Thicker strip. So put the I want to the top left. And so say it along with me. I want juice.
I want juice.
Good job, Sam. And then we put it back.
Okay. Oh, yes. And then you would just record the data.
And then I record it.
Sorry.
Oh, and then I also give the juice.
Mhm.
And that would be it.
Okay.
I believe.
Alright, so let me just quickly mark it down what just happened. Okay, so that was a good job for your first try. Just some constructive feedback for you. Firstly, we don't require Sam to actually say the words.
Okay.
We, at this phase, we just want him to actually point to the words and you delivering the juice afterwards.
Okay.
So as of right now, no vocals need to be done, but that's fine. Also, you would actually get Sam to form the sentence himself.
Okay.
So I saw that you created the sentence for
Yeah.
him, but it's okay. Sam can actually form it himself and he gives it to you. So after viewing that, I would say it would be good to do a follow-up training session. We can meet up tomorrow at 2 o'clock. How does that sound?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
Okay, great. It's
Yeah.
been a great training
All
session.
right. Thanks a lot.
See you tomorrow.
All right. See you.